for real conversation. In a world full of noise, we choose meaningful conversations. Conversations that heal, inspire, and build faith. Here at Love TV, we'll be having meaningful conversations, very real conversations, powerful interviews, and faith-based discussions. Here we will discuss family, purpose, relationship, stories, all through the lenses of God's Word. Whether you are young or old, join us every Saturday at 7 p.m. My name is DEBORAH BAAH QUANSAH. I'll be your host for Real Conversation. In a world full of noise, we choose meaningful conversations. Conversations that heal, inspire, and build faith. Here at Love TV, we'll be having meaningful conversations, very real conversations, powerful interviews, and faith-based discussions. Here we will discuss family, purpose, relationship, stories, all through the lenses of God's Word. Whether you are young or old, join us every Saturday at 7 p.m. My name is DEBORAH BAAH QUANSAH. I'll be your host for Real Conversation. In a world full of noise, we choose meaningful conversations. Conversations that heal, inspire, and build faith. Here at Love TV, we'll be having meaningful conversations, very real conversations, powerful interviews, and faith-based discussions. Here we will discuss family, purpose, relationship, stories, all through the lenses of God's Word. Whether you are young or old, join us every Saturday at 7 p.m. My name is DEBORAH BAAH QUANSAH. I'll be your host for Real Conversation. In a world full of noise, we choose.
Good evening, everyone. You are welcome to the 6th episode of Real Conversations here on Love TV. You can follow us on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. You can share, like, and leave a comment. Tonight, we are here to have a very nice conversation with someone very special, one of our very able deacons. He's someone that I've admired from afar. And the fact that we are able to have conversations on those levels and then be able to get in on an experience he had. And so this one is not just him having an experience about something that is so abstract, but then this is something that he has experienced himself. And I wanted to hear what he had to go through during that season of his life and how God turned it around for him. And so tonight, be ready for a very real conversation. Once again, my name is Miss DEBORAH BAAH QUANSAH, and I'm your host for Real Talk. I'll have our deacon introduce himself.
Okay, good evening. My name is Deacon Innocent Do Ashinyo. I fellowship with Love Community Baptist Church, and it's an honor. I've been watching this online, and I think it's making a real impact. And so today, to have been on this set is so much an honor for me to be invited to be here this evening. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. God richly bless you for being here tonight. I think the topic we want to discuss tonight is life after school. We are looking at life after school, our expectations, what the reality really becomes, and then at the end of the day, how God still comes through for his children, even in those seasons. We are in a day and age where people finish school and then they are unable to find jobs. They go through different stages. They go through the pressure from the family and all other things. And so tonight we want to discuss based on that, like life after school, what nobody talks about, what everybody feels like, okay, you are done with school, you are supposed to be jubilating, but the pressures that comes right after school. So what year did you complete?
Okay, so I finished uni in 2010. 2010 was when I finished uni.
That was a very long time ago. Yes, and I believe prior to you leaving school, what was your how have you planned your life, or how did you think your life was going to pan out at the end of school?
Okay, so I would say that I had some lofty plans, right? In fact, before I even went into uni, the program I did, it was informed by what I wanted to do after school. So I knew the food industry was doing very well. I was hearing of this company, Nestle, and right from when you were young, we were seeing Ideal Milk. We grew up, Ideal Milk was still there, and I've realized that those who sell food were doing well. Like, food is there every time. So I wanted to go to a field where I wouldn't come out and be looking for a job. So I decided that, okay, I would want to study a program that will direct me towards the food industry. So I made a few consultations, and then a friend who was doing biochemistry at Tech at that time told me that they had a program that was newly introduced. It came out of biochemistry, and it was food science and technology. And it was solely focused on the food industry. So if my intention is to do the food industry after school, then the best program for me at that time was to study food science and technology. And so quickly I enrolled on that program. So that was the expectation, to go through school, come out, and then enter into the food industry.
I think there's this myth about, okay, we are the first to go into this industry, and so there are good prospects for us. Did you feel like that? Or since it was a new program and I'm now venturing into it, the opportunities for me were endless?
Yes, I had this expectation that because it was new, the prospects were going to be massive. Because we wouldn't have had so many people already flooding the market. We would be the first. In fact, we're like the third batch, and so we wouldn't have had so many of our seniors already flooding the market. And so the prospects, I believe, were going to be massive. You come out and you are in so much of a demand. There are so many opportunities that the number of you out may not even be enough to fill it. So that was the expectation I had.
Yeah, I think that what you said is very profound, because sometimes we think that people go to school, they study courses that there is no job for them, and then that is the reason why they come out and it is difficult to find a job. But in your case, you had done the research. You had put yourself in a position where you felt there were going to be prospects, and it still happened in that way. How do you think our educational system helps people to find their career path and other things? Or do you think in that era, the educational system was able to help you during that season, or it was more of a lone journey and what you have heard around?
Honestly, I think education is to prepare us for life. Hardly so. In some rare cases do we study programs that directly move us into professions. So for instance, you study nursing, you know, you are coming out to be a nurse. You study medicine, you are coming out to be a doctor. But apart from those few programs, most of them do not have that specific profession that you are supposed to just jump in. So we must have this at the back of our minds. The best you can do is to position yourself as best as you can. For instance, in this case, I knew the food industry, and so if I studied this, I will go into this industry. That's the best you could do. But then at the back of your mind should be to gain more than just knowledge for your profession. I think school, basically, this is one of the things that we are supposed to have at the back of our minds as we go into school, that we are getting more than just the knowledge, we must aim at establishing relationships. We must aim at learning practical life lessons and not only focus on the book, because that alone is not going to cut it. And like as the journey progresses, it is obvious, I will share with you, that it was not solely the academics that helped me. God was the ultimate, but relationships really played a key part for me.
Okay, so right after school, you got into what we would call the real life, starting from national service. How was that process like?
Wow, that's such a wonderful question. For me, my first reality check was national service. That was the first time I realized that, oh, now I've entered the real world. Because in our fourth year, we will do this search for placement.
Okay.
And by then I was staying with somebody whose name I would like to withhold for good reasons, who had so much clout. So he had so much influence in Tema that he could say, go here and you are there. That was the person I was staying with, and he was family.
Okay.
So before we came out of school, I had consulted him. I told him I wanted Nestle. And so he actually held my hands and took me to the national office, where we had the national service secretariat. I went to meet the director, the boss of the place. Okay. And there was so much assurance that, okay, what did you want? I told them I wanted this company. I said, oh, no problem. You go, it is sorted. So after school, you finish your when the national service postings come, you will see that where you have desired is put there for you.
I think you had the classical example of when you go greet daddy for me. When you are being posted to a particular company, and sometimes they say when you go and they say greet daddy for me, it means that your prospects are going to be good. But when you go and they ask you who sent you, then you feel like maybe there's no opportunity for you. And so hearing that, I'm sure you had full vim that this was going to turn out right. And how did that story unfold later on?
Exactly. I left there having this assurance that my national service was sorted. But fast forward to after school, we finished, and then it was now time for us to do the national service. The person who held my hands and took me to that place was transferred from Tema. He's been in Tema all this while that I was in school. But the moment that I needed his influence the most, we came out of school, and then he was transferred to the northern region. And so that influence was gone. I went to check my postings, and I was sent to Umpoho, Wasa East, to go and teach. From Nestle to Umpoho, Wasa East, in the Dabuasi district, Takradi, to go and teach. In fact, that was my first shock. That I thought everything was covered, sorted. I was walking into a well-prepared place for me, but I came out of school and it was the complete opposite. I never thought I was going to teach, but from working in the industry, your appointment is sorted. I ended up going to a place I had no idea about, to do something I was not prepared for mentally, physically, or in any way at all. And that was the real shock, my first shock after school.
And at that time, did you know God? How would you describe your relationship with God at that time?
Minister Debbie, it was a difficult time. Yes, I was going to church, but by then I had not really accepted Jesus as my Lord and personal Savior. So I was born, you follow mommy to church, that kind of go to church, come. But to have had that personal relationship and say that I have accepted Jesus as my Lord and personal Savior, no, by then it was not there like that.
So how did you go through that season? Because one thing believers are usually blessed with is that when we go through trying times, we encourage ourselves with the fact that God is with us. God is with us through this season, and He's working it out for our good. And so in that season where you were at that particular point in time, how did you go through that season? Things you had not prepared for, and now you have to walk in them. How did you hold yourself during that season?
In fact, the first reaction I had was to cry. I stayed at the entrance of the National Service Secretariat and I cried because I had this impression that, okay, at least if he saw me, he will remember that I had come here with this person before. But at that time, even to enter the place was not, that opportunity was not even there at all. So it was like a real shock. You saw people bringing their children, they were entering, but you didn't even have the opportunity to go and meet anybody at all. So I cried. That was my first reaction. I cried. In fact, I went there around 9 o'clock. I was there up until 3 o'clock. In fact, I started even calling the person. It got to a point he was not picking the calls anymore. And so I realized that no, I cannot, there was nothing I could do again. So the option I had was to cry it out. So I spent most of the day crying there. And I learned one lesson there. Minister Debbie, look, nobody really cares about your crying. Right? Nobody really cares about your crying. You need to get yourself up and get it going. So you see, when you come out from school, you will get so many shocks. But stop the pity party. Nobody really cares about the pity party. Pick yourself up and move on. Pick yourself up and move on. People are there and all they are saying is, if my father were here, if my mother were here. They are not there. They are not there. So get it on. Get it moving. Life is going. Get it moving. Stop the pity party and get it moving. That was the first lesson I learned there. So I had to pick myself up because there was nobody. The person who could have helped was no more there. So in this case, it wasn't that he had the opportunity or he was there and couldn't help. He was not there. So your crying wouldn't solve anything. You see, get yourself up and get going.
I think it also teaches us about like putting our hope in man. Like we can't tell what the next minute is going to be, what the next day is going to be. And that's why maybe for some people out there, maybe you are in school and all your hope is your uncle. You are in school and all your hope is because your father is in this particular place. But then tonight you are learning that you had the experience. You had to go to the place with him. It looked like all things were sorted, but in the end, it turned around. And what you said is very important. This time around, we have on social media a lot of people that are saying there are no jobs, and then we spend time talking about all the things that could be right, but we are not willing to pick ourselves up and then go out there and search for something for ourselves. And so I like the fact that you spoke about pity parties. They are going on a lot. If my father was here, my uncle didn't take care of me, my auntie did this, did that. It is time that you realize that nothing changes by you talking about it, but then your actions can change a lot. And so going to Takrady, what was the experience like in Takrady? Being a young man, how was accommodation going to be sorted, all those things?
Yeah, so Takrady was another experience on its own. It was my first time in the Western region. So, and being from where I am, I didn't even understand the language that much. You see, so it was a culture shock to me. And then one thing that helped me through was to have learned how to live with people whilst we were in school, because we were in a room with people from various places. So once I moved from that pity party part, I decided that, okay, now this is what you have. Chairman, you didn't get the nestle. You are now a teacher in Mpoho, Ghana China Friendship School. You have to accept it. You see, so once I switched the mind from all the things that could have been and accepted where I was at that particular point, things began to change. So I really immersed all of myself into the teaching. I immersed myself. Whatever they were doing, I got involved some. When they were doing sports, I was involved. In fact, I was teaching science and math in basic 6 and then the JHS, those who are going to write the exams. But then I could go to basic 3 and go and teach them, even though that was not part of my job. But I got so involved. They were not having this quiz competition. I tried to organize some quiz competitions for them. And by the time I was living there, it became a norm that they were even beginning to call other schools in to compete with them. So once you didn't get what you want, what you have, want it. So there's this saying, they say, you don't always get what you want, but you must want what you get. You see, so the moment you accept how it is now, this is where I am, so you do the best out of it. So the question was, how did I cope at Takoradi? I accepted where I was at that particular point in time, and I immersed myself in where I was and gave it my very best.
Okay, so national service is over. What was the future looking like? Now we are done with national service. You had to come back to Tema. And what did you think you were going to do? How, or did you develop interest in the teaching area and now you felt like that is what you wanted to pursue? Okay,
so at Takoradi, because I put myself so much into it, when the national service was over, the headmaster, Mr. Nkansa, he wanted me to stay on. So he said that, oh, Innocent, I really liked the way you committed yourself to the national service. I would want to keep you on for 1 year. So I'll go to the district office, work out all your documents for you, so that for 1 more year you can stay on whilst you are looking for job elsewhere. But you see, fresh blood from school, you thought everything was going to be rosy. Yeah. And so my friends kept calling me, where are you? I said, I'm teaching in Takoradi. I said, you pa, I am in this company, I am in that company. And you ask yourself, when we were in school, this guy was nowhere close to you, but look at where he is. This one will call you, mention some big company. So I told Hedi, Masami, I won't stay. I'll go. I'm going back to Tema. My friends are working in big companies. Me, I'm here. I'm coming to teach. Then we're taking 325. So if he pushes it up, maybe 500. But the places they were mentioning, I knew. In fact, they will even mention to you some huge monies. I'm doing 3K. I'm doing 4K. And I'm like, hey, the same classroom. We came out at the same time. You are taking 4K in a company that I decide to work in, and I'm now going to be in, what's the name, the teaching field, taking 325 or good case maybe 500. And I said, no, I won't stay. So I told Hedi that no. Even though he would love for me to stay, no, I won't stay. I wanted to go to Tema because my friends told me bigger opportunities were there and they were waiting for me. So I didn't take his word. I didn't take his advice. I left Takoradi and I came to Tema.
I think there's this narrative out there. Sometimes they say that, oh, this person was very intelligent in class and now the person is a shoemaker. Oh, this person is very intelligent, but at the end of the day, they won't amount to anything. And sometimes it gets into people's heads, and then they feel like this narrative of the first shall be the last and the last shall be the first. During that season where there were people that you had sat with in class who maybe were doing better than they were, and they found themselves in those bigger companies, and then maybe per your academics you found yourself in Takoradi, did you at a point feel like your life was going down during that season? Did you feel like they were getting better and that you were going down a rabbit hole where you were going to just go down and down and then there was nothing good coming for you?
I would say yes. I had this feeling that the world was going and leaving me behind. I had that feeling, and I later got to realize that it is what we call peer pressure. So peer pressure is real, right? Peer pressure is real, because when I really came to the tema itself, all those people actually were not all of them were in those places they were mentioning. Not all of them were there. So not all of them were there. So if I had listened to, you see, so it is good that you listen to people who have gone ahead of you more than your peers, right? More than your peers. So it's good to have somebody who will mentor you. It's good to get somebody who is always ahead of you, who knows where you are going, knows more about life than you. If all your advisors are your age mates, you are bound to make so many mistakes. So many mistakes.
So coming out of school and then looking for a job, not finding, what was family pressure like? What was that season? How long did you look for a job?
We finished National Service 2011. I stayed home for the whole of the latter part of 2011. 2012, I was home. I started work 2013. Yes, so I spent almost 1.5 years at home.
What was that 1.5 years like? Family pressure, friends?
You know, sometimes if you go and come, the way they will even welcome you home is different from when you are there every day. If it is not fetching much, but just the fact that you go and you come, they will welcome you. Oh, welcome back from work, welcome back from school. But this one that you are in the house, even though they will not say it directly to you, you feel that even the banku, the size is going down. The way your younger sister will talk to you is different. You that when you came from uni, they say, hey, University for Aba, my big brother is in. Now when you are eating crowd, they say, why are you cutting the banku big like that? So it's like, even though they may not directly say it to you, their attitude will make you feel the pressure. And I felt that pressure so much that sometimes I'll just go out and stay out. I just want to be out of that space for a period before I come in, because the pressure in there, nobody is talking to you, but it's like the world is caving in on you. And that was the feeling I had at that time. So I developed this habit of meditating. So I would go out, just walk around, and then sit and be thinking, be dreaming. So that was one thing I started during that period. I dreamt. I could imagine things I wanted to do, where I see myself going, and all that. And at least it gave some freshness in my mind before I come back home and feel that heaviness all around me in the evenings.
Going down.
Yeah.
And so like during that particular point, was there any point where people came to you to encourage you during that season, or it was more of just a lonely journey?
Yeah, this thing, you know, the words we say yes. So first response is yes. I got two main people who really encouraged me. The first person was one old lady who was just on our first floor. So we were in a flat. Okay. So we were on the, if you count the down one, then we are on the third one. So the lady was on the first floor. Every morning during that period, especially from the 2012, every morning, Minister, I will take my bag, that time it was brown envelope, and I'll print my CVs like 10 and roam the whole of Tema. There is no industrial area, there's no food company in the industrial area that I had not gone to. Nestle, Unilever, Community One, this Irani Brothers, Gino, all the food companies in the industrial area. I work there. So I will wake up, take a taxi to Community One, then take a taxi from Community One to the industrial area and walk around all that place. I will walk around all that place. And if you see my shoe, for some of the companies, I even later had this thought in my mind that maybe even the way they saw my shoe when I entered from the reason why they didn't even entertain me. And look, Accra, every food company in Accra, I submitted application there. So every morning I will wake up, because then I had decided that I will not stay in the house and have that pressure mounting on me. So every morning I will wake up, print the CVs and go and distribute them. Then one day I was going and I met this old lady on the first floor, and she told me, "Oh, my son, every day I see how you take your envelope in your arm and you go. When you come back, I watch your shoe, very red. I know you are putting in your best. Don't worry, it will be well." Minister, that word she told me that day, it carried me on. She didn't say plenty things, so she just said, "Oh, I see how you go up, I see how you come back. Don't worry, my son, it will be well." And that really encouraged my heart.
And I think what you are saying is something that even as family or as friends we need to emulate. Sometimes when people are going through those seasons, what do we tell them? What are words of encouragement to them? Sometimes you may not have the connections to find a job for them, but creating the environment where they can feel at home, where they can feel like there is no pressure here, you can still come home at any time. There are people that left, let's say Kumasi, to come to Tema to look for a job, and they feel like home is no longer safe for them to go back. And so even though they've not found anything around here, they still are around. They are still around because home will not be ready to accept them if they don't make it here. And so maybe as family, when our people are going through those seasons, let's see it like they don't want to be in that situation. They also want to be out there looking for a job, getting better at what they are doing. And so if life had turned out that way for them, how can we create the environment for them to thrive as well? You spoke about going to look for a job each and every day. Were there times people would promise you of getting a job and then later on it would turn sideways?
Yes. Surprisingly, okay, so for almost all the places that I went in the industrial area there, you end up meeting the, how do you call him, the manager, sometimes the security, right? So you submit your CV to them and then you go. Other places, when you are fortunate, you meet the receptionist, but to go and meet the HR or the manager, it was really difficult. The only, and so they will tell you at the reception, "Oh, we'll pass your letter on. Oh, don't worry, they will call you when the manager is passing. I will give him your what's the name, your application." So they will give you good, encouragement. And some of the places you go and you meet people who are speaking the same language as you are. So they will tell you, "Bro, don't worry. When the HR is passing, we'll give them your application." But none of them was working. I remember the very last one that really encouraged, the one that I had the most assurance that, okay, this one was going to go through, was in Accra, Ministry of Food and Agriculture. That one, they had opened the application, so it was online, and I felt that one, it was not about who you knew. You just put your best foot forward and you'll be chosen. Mommy, we went to write up that one. They called us. We went to write up exams, and these questions, because it was something I was looking for, I had actually prepared. And when I went, almost all the sample questions that we had solved were the ones I saw there. And so this one, I don't think I will get by God's grace, anything below 90%. But even this one, mommy, they didn't call.
This is very hard for someone to go through this season. I want to ask, at this point, did you find God during this season?
Yeah, so this was at the point that I really moved from follow mommy to church to now looking for God myself. So like I mentioned earlier that yes, I was following my parents to church. The family, when you wake up on Sunday, you can't stay home, so you follow them to church. But this season was when I really searched for God myself. So it was one early morning, and so in fact during that period, because of all those challenges, I was not even going to church again. So between 2011 to 2012, no, there was no church. There was no church. All the 2011, after 2011, no church. 2012, so I came, 2012, getting to the latter part was when I made that decision. So it was one early morning. I was like, you have tried everything. You sent the applications. You have done all the footwork. It's not working. You've gone to write all the exams. It's not working. Then go and look for God. The people, human beings who could have helped you, people that were in the position to say that, come, let's go, they couldn't help you. So it means that all these things, there was no, they were not guarantees for your making it. And so at that point, I had this decision that no, if all has failed, then the only thing that I can turn to now is God. So one Sunday morning, I got up from bed and I decided that no, today I'm going to church. It was in the flat, so I passed through the flat. We have this clinic there now, Port Clinic. Then Action Chapel was worshiping there. When I got there, I saw these big cars parked there. But look, the things I have gone through, it just told me that no, if I should enter this church now, my mind will be to look for who is riding this big car so that I can go and make contact with him. But I've seen that will not help me. So I moved. I walked down through that lane to the Baptist, the First Tema Parents. There's another big church just behind them. I don't know the name of that church. It's Salvation, eh? Yes. So I got there, and the way the place too was big, I said, no. This place too is not here. I moved down to the Adom FM roundabout there. There were churches I met along the way, but my heart didn't really feel safe there until I walked down to the police station and took this road. When I got to the entrance here, I saw this church where we are having this conversation now. They were under some blue canopy. But when I got to the entrance there, after passing this big audit, I just felt some peace in here. So I decided that okay, let me come here. And then I didn't see any big car. So I knew that when I enter here, it's not about looking to somebody to help me. I was looking for a place where I can just focus on God with all my heart, with everything. Just worship God and see what will come out of it for me.
I think it's very, very deep what you just shared, because sometimes people find themselves in church because of what they want to get out of it. But God had put you at a point where you had to let everything go. Everything else had failed you. And the only thing you had to turn to was God himself. Do you feel like God did all that just to get your attention?
As for that, I cannot say. But I realized that it taught me to trust absolutely in God. If that was his intention, then he achieved it. Because it taught me that till now, all I have, all I am, I know it's just by God's grace. I don't credit it to my brilliance, the people. If it was brilliance, like the exams we went to, I should have gotten the placement. If it was about human beings, I had a person who had the huge influence and could move me to the highest or to where I wanted. But he was moved when I needed him most. So it means that human beings too were not the solution. So if God's intention in that period was to teach me that it is he alone and nothing else, then I think he achieved that purpose.
And so now you had found God, you were seeking his face because everything else had failed. What point did everything turn around? Moments leading up to the point where God finally heard your cry.
Yeah, so I think, look, when you want to serve God, just serve him with your whole heart. Don't look to what somebody would do for you. Don't look to the human beings around. If God will help you, he can pass it through anybody. You see, if God puts you on somebody's heart, the person cannot do anything about it. He will help you. But if God does not put you on in somebody's heart, you can jump, you can lie down for the person to pass on you. It won't work. So it is God and God alone. If he puts you on somebody's heart, the person will help you. And so that was the drive for me to focus and serve God. So when I was here, I then met our senior minister of blessed memory, Reverend Kessie, and he saw me. So in fact, that very first day I entered church, he called me after service. He was like, there was something different about, have you been here before and all that? I said, no, this is my first time. But you see, when I entered, I knew what I wanted. So I was not looking to who was seated beside me, how was the singing going, how was the preach. I just wanted to serve God. So when they closed from church, then we were packing the chairs to a room. We were dismantling the canopies after. I stayed behind. They dismantled all the canopies. I helped pack the chairs in. And the boys were like, this guy, where is he coming from? It was my first time, but I just wanted to serve God. So when the man, I think he stayed a little longer that day before going home. So when we closed, he called and he said, today is the first time he's seeing me. I said, yes, today is my first time. He said, well, what's your name? And that conversation said, okay, you are here to serve God. I said, yes. And he mentioned this to me the first time. Keep your eyes on God. He mentioned this to me for the first time. Keep your eyes on God. Don't look to anybody. Just focus on God and serve God, and God will come through for you. So aside the old lady I mentioned, this man was the second person I was talking about. That's his word. And throughout that period, he, I think, saw something. So he really drew me to himself. He really drew me to himself. There are days that he would call me and tell me, you see, I remember these things because they struck a chord at the point I needed it the most. One day he called me and he saw that something was weighing me down. And he told me, see, my son, your parents at home, they don't want anything from you. At this time, they just wanted to know that you too, you are doing something for yourself. And that lifted some huge burden from my shoulders. Because you know, back then, when they see you have prospects, and your teachers will always come on, oh, this boy, he will turn the fortunes of the family around. He will do well. So you carry that expectation. That's, so all this money they are spent on me, secondary school, basic school, uni, now you are here and you are not even amounting to anything. All these expenses, you are here and you are still taking money from them. So it was so much on my head. But when he said that thing that day, that look, my son, your parents, they don't want anything from you at this time. All they wanted to know is that you too, you are fine. It lifted some burden off my shoulders. It lifted some burden off my shoulders.
Mentioning that, I think a lighter note on, let's say, black tax, like with parents wanting to raise their children so that they can get from them. At that point, did you feel like you had failed them? Like from what you are saying?
Yes, I had that, and that was what added to the weight, because I saw people that I was in the same class with them. I knew we knew ourselves, but they were doing better. This one will say, I'm here, I'm there, I'm there. And like I mentioned earlier, some of them, even the I am there that they are saying is pressure. It's not true. They are not there. You see, they are not there. But you carry all that pressure and put on yourself. You see, you carry all that pressure and you put on yourself.
Speaking to that, maybe there's someone watching and the person feels like everything they spoke about concerning them, their life now looks nothing like all that has been said. Maybe they have advanced in age. Maybe they were told that, oh, in your youthful days you'll be able to do this. Just like you're saying, you turn the family around, but now you can't even turn your own life around. And so for somebody watching in that particular space right now, what would you tell?
I will tell that person, please, it is not over for you. It is not over for you at all. In a split of a second, God can turn your story around. So trust absolutely in God. Move your eyes from anybody you know who can help you. Move your hope from your intellect or anything. Just focus on God. Focus entirely on God. Serve Him wholeheartedly. And He is a faithful God. He can turn your story around in a split of a second. And for you also that you are carrying so much burden on your head, look, God is the lifter of men. You can't do much about it by your own strength. You can put your best in every time, but it is ultimately God who lifts one up and brings down another. So if you are carrying so many expectations on your head, this evening, hand it over to God. He said that, come to me those who are heavy burden, and I will give you rest. The rest you need is in Jesus. If you give your life over to Him, He is able to turn your story around. Don't focus on any human being and what he can do for you. Just focus your mind on God, and God is able to turn that situation around for you.
Okay, so going a little back to, you were sharing about when things finally changed. That day, what happened before you finally got the job?
Yeah, so there are two lessons I learned. So somebody from the church called me and said, oh, I saw that you are, I see how you go about your things in church. My son knows somebody who works in a food company somewhere. I'll give you his number to call. So the person gave me that person's number and I called. So apparently when I went there, this is another lesson I learned after school. It was the same person I had gone to the week before. So a friend of mine from uni, a lady friend who we went to do internship at the same place, called to tell me that she was leaving that company. Okay. And so she remembered how I didn't really was that close with her in school, but she said she liked the way I carried myself in school, and she thought that if she gives me the opportunity to come there, I won't come and embarrass her. Yeah. So she's leaving and she would want me to take that position. She was a supervisor in the company. So when I went there and the man told me that I was going to be an inspector. So inspector at that company was a secondary school leaver. Okay. But this is a girl or a lady I was in the same class with. So I had this impression that if she's a supervisor, then why are you taking me as an inspector? So I said I won't do. I said I won't do. So I came home. And when I met the woman who gave me the number, I went back to the person she directed me to. It was the same company. So when I went to the company, I said, and he said you won't do. So at that point, I realized that no, this one I have to do. So I eventually let the ego go, and then I took it. So the first lesson I learned there was that, look, chairman, if it is not stealing, you are out of school, you are struggling, and you have opportunity to do something that will give you something, so take it. Forget about your first class. I went to Umukuru Development University. Forget it. If it will give you something to start with now, take it. Start with it. The lady who was a supervisor there, when we left school and I was in the house for that 1 year, she was in the company. She was in the company working. So she grew. She was there as a supervisor because she knew the work. You went to teach at Mpoho. You stayed at home for 1 year. You are coming and you want to come and be supervisor. It doesn't work that way. So when you are out and you are not working, you get the opportunity. If it is not still in Kwandia, please take it and start. Please take it and start. So the first lesson I learned was, let the ego go, take the opportunity and make the best out of it. And the second one was, don't compare yourself. You don't know somebody's journey. She was there as a supervisor because she had been in the system for longer. So even though you were in the same class with her, it doesn't mean that you had the same experience with her. No. Your journey is different. Her journey is different. So don't go comparing yourself that, because we were both in uni the same year, we came out the same year. Why is that she's working in a bank and wearing a tie and I am going to be a salesperson taking to say, no. Her journey is completely different. Your journey is completely different. Stop comparing yourself. So those were the two things I learned from that company. And so eventually I had to take it.
And then you got the job. Then you started, and then God has been with you throughout. I'm sure during that process you have your personal testimonies, and now you serve in what capacity?
Yes, so by God's grace in that company, and I mentioned something earlier, right? You don't always get what you want, but you must want what you get. You see, there's this saying that if you live too much in the past, you only carry so much regret. And if you look too far ahead into the future, you carry too much anxiety. Live in the now. So I accepted that now I'm an inspector. I'm not a supervisor. I'm an inspector. Right? So I took it. I owned it. And Debbie, I gave it everything. I gave it everything. And this man called me once and told me, Innocent, I see the way you are putting in your best now. Don't worry. Today, you may be working more than you are being paid. But a time will come, you'll be paid more than you are working. And it was like a prophecy. So 2015, I went there 2012. 2013, officially, I started work. 2015, by God's grace, I got a call from another schoolmate that he was also going to do his master's. So there was another opportunity at his company. I should come. And because I had taken this low one and worked for some time, when I went there, I carried some experience. So when I went there, the first salary I got was like 3 times the money I was earning here. You see, because I finally threw the ego and all away, accepted the lowly one, and worked and got some experience. So when this one came now, I was in a better position to take it. So 2 things I learned also in that transition: get the experience from there, bigger opportunities will come. And 2, establish good relationships. The first one, so it was a lady friend who were in the same class who called me, and then somebody from here backed it up. I went to the same place again. And the second place too, it was a schoolmate again who called to connect me to that place also. You see, so in the school or wherever you find yourself, don't focus only on the book part. No, create good relations. It's so much of a currency that can help you going forward. So currently, back to the question, by the grace of God, moving from an inspector there, I entered that place as as a quality control analyst. A year later, I was moved to a senior quality control analyst. 3 years later, I was moved to quality assistant manager quality control, and then 2 years later, the company established another branch. I was serving at the first place as assistant manager quality control. I was moved to the other place as assistant manager of the entire quality section. So by the grace of God, I rose through the grades to the assistant manager of quality position. That was all by the grace of God.
It's really amazing, and it teaches us that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and then a point will come where you will not remember the season that you were in. If there's anything that stood out for me, it was the fact that there was a church that had a big cast, and it could have fooled you to believe that that was where God was going to work through you, or that was where God was going to come through you, but you had to go to a place where it didn't look like that, just to fix your focus on God, and that was where God came through for you. And so I think as believers, sometimes we box God to think that this is where he can come through for me. This is the person that can help me. If I position myself this way, this is how I'm going to improve. But if our lives are submitted under God, then we know that it doesn't matter where we find ourselves, he'll be able to turn things around for our good. And so it's been an amazing time having this conversation with you. I believe that we have all been blessed by what we have learned. If you're out there, you are the season that he was in, you are looking for a job, nothing seems to come through for you, you are in a hard season, he has said a lot. I pray that God also comes through for you one of these days. And so tonight, this is where we end our conversation. This was Real Talk on Love TV. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on TikTok as well. And so next week we'll meet at the same time, 7 p.m. I was your host, DEBORAH BAAH QUANSAH, DBQ, and I was with
Deacon Innocent Do Ashinyo.
Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.
Meaningful conversations. Conversations that heal, inspire, and build faith. Here at Love TV, we'll be having meaningful conversations, very real conversations, powerful interviews, and faith-based discussions. Here we will discuss family, purpose, relationship, stories, all through the lenses of God's Word. Whether you are young or old, join us every Saturday at 7 p.m. My name is DEBORAH BAAH QUANSAH. I'll be your host for Real Conversations.